Group exhibit hydrogen fuel cells and batteries at the Hanover Fair 2017. We are here at the Technical Forum and my name is Muriel Burkas. Please have a seat, join us for some coffee, some drinks. I would also like to welcome people watching the presentation through the live streaming we're having. I've seen some people taking pictures. Of course you can take pictures, but all the presentations will be available afterwards on the website, so you can watch the presentation one more time if you have more time later on. So the next presentation will be regarding off-grid and backup energy solutions based on direct methanol fuel cell. Please welcome with me on stage the product specialist off-grid energy solutions of SFC Energy AG, Stephan Laistner.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Stephan Laistner from SFC Energy. We are a manufacturer of direct methanol fuel cells. It's a little bit different than the other presentations so far, which are mainly focused on hydrogen fuel cells. Our products in the market are 100% fuel cells, but based on methanol. So we are in the market since already several years, like 8 years, 10 years in the market. We started with our consumer products, with nowadays it's called EFOY Comfort for RV vehicles, for caravans, to provide off-grid energy on demand, especially when there's no solar, for example, available. After several years, we saw, okay, this is quite interesting, this topic. The industry is also getting interested in off-grid power supply. So we introduced in 2008 our EFOY Pro fuel cells, which are actually still available in the second generation now. And on the defense and security side, we have a fuel cell called Emily. This is and also portable fuel cells, also on methanol-based. And they all have like a similar power output range, which is quite low actually if you compare it to other products what you have seen before. So our average products at the moment have a power output of 100 watts, which seems to be quite low. But there are several applications which are interesting in this power range. For example, like security cameras, LiDAR systems, for wind measurement, obstacle lighting, oil and gas applications. So there are several niche markets where these products fit in. And up to now, we sold up to 36,000 units. So it's not in the development status or something. It's not R&D. It's commercially available. We are in the market since several years. And that is, I think, a great success, especially if you see what kind of products we have, that it's not a hydrogen fuel cell, but a fuel cell based on methanol. So SFC is a Germany-based company. We are located in Munich, also with producing the fuel cells over there. We have subsidiaries in Netherlands and in Canada. Around 250 employees overall. And like I told you before, we are in the market. We started 16 years ago. Last year we had our 10th anniversary of our EFOY fuel cell brand, actually. And what our idea is, of course, to get away from the pure methanol fuel cell manufacturer into the market as an energy supplier. So the customers don't need, from our side, in our markets, don't need fuel cells, they need off-grid power. So what we want to provide is not only the fuel cell, we want to provide as well, as you see, batteries, the power management, the controllers, the inverters, for example, provide an integrated system, and at the end have a service contract to service also those stations. So how does the fuel cell work itself? It's slightly different from a hydrogen fuel cell. Like I told you before, the methanol is, as a fuel, is quite easy to handle. It's a liquid, so it's quite easy to transportate. The logistics is quite simple. It's filled in plastic canisters. And it's really easy to exchange. There's no pressure topic on that. There's no problem with storing at all. What we need for the reaction is methanol on one side and oxygen on the other side, which we take from the air. So we need fresh air supply from the surroundings. We need the methanol from the fuel cell, from the cartridges, and we provide then electricity to the battery. We have as an emission, which is a little bit of the downside compared to the hydrogen fuel cell, is CO2. But at a 100-watt fuel cell, it's the same amount like you breathe, more or less. So that's not a huge amount, and there are no carbon monoxides or something like a generator. And the other side is what we have is also water, and we produce off heat, which we can use, especially in applications where we go down to minus 40 degrees in Canada, for example, in Scandinavia, also in Japan and Russia, where we can use the off heat to warm up the battery compartment, for example, to have it around 0 degrees and to have the battery at a good capacity, for example. Yeah, the energy efficiency of the unit is around 30%. So the one side is the electric energy, and you get, when you have a 100-watt fuel cell, around 300-watt thermal energy when it's in operation. So what is the advantages of the system? It's reliable, it's fully autonomous, so it's you don't have to go there, you don't have to clean parts, you don't have to exchange parts, beside, of course, the methanol, which should be refilled or exchanged. We can remote monitor it, of course, so it's quite useful for the customers. It's very lightweight and compact, so a 100-watt fuel cell is around 7 to 8 kilograms. And yeah, it's quiet in operation, and more or less compared to a generator, it's emission-free. So yeah, and this is how our customers see the advantages as well in this in their application, and use the fuel cells in the operation. And to reduce also personal costs is also an upside for this product. So we have some application examples also where we are in is telecommunication applications, which are normally not in the center of the city, but remotely. So for example, if you have, this is an example from Austria, it's a base station on top of a mountain, because of course you want to have the network in the valleys, but if you place the station in the valley, you have to place one by one in each valley, and on top of a mountain, you of course can cover with one station the whole range of valleys. And but to put a grid cable over there, it's quite expensive and takes a lot of time. So here we have applications where we also use, where the customer also uses solar, and as backup times, for example, in winter times, like you see over here, the fuel cell will start in and charge the batteries in this time. Also very very interesting market for us is the surveillance market, camera systems, video surveillance, especially temporary or stationary, but transportable. For example, we did ship this year in January or February. We won a project in Singapore where they ordered 400 SFC products, 400 methanol fuel cells, to install them as a Coast Guard system. So they have camera systems. They have a little bit of solar, but the main power source is a DMFC fuel cell. And I was thinking, don't know, like, if you have been in Singapore, it's a big city where you think grid is available everywhere. There's a connection to the grid, but they want to be flexible. They don't want to rely on the grid. They want to have a camera system wherever they need it, so they can move them around. They can put them wherever they want, and yeah, it's working quite well for them and for us as well. Also, a possible solution, as you see over here, is a trailer-based surveillance system, camera system. And for example, if you later maybe get over to our booth, we have an application example over there with 2 cartridges. And with this setup, for example, a 25-watt system can stay in the field for 100 days without doing nothing, fully autonomous, and without using solar as well. If you add solar, for example, this unit can stay 1 year in the field, and you don't have to service it, you don't have to go there, you don't have to exchange something. After 1 year, you have to go there, exchange the cartridge, and 1 year is, again, maintenance-free. So you can reduce the service costs significantly. Also very interesting is, of course, the rural applications, and the wind market is also a market where we are in. And we also point on our booth, we have a windmill and everything, and the people ask us, yeah, where are you in there? It's not quite obvious that fuel cell can be pointed into or can be placed in a windmill. But before you place or before you want to construct a wind park, you first need to measure the wind. How much will be the output of the wind farm? So in that case, there's definitely no grid available, because over there the wind park is placed where no one is living, where no grid is available. And therefore, they put a direct methanol fuel cell, an E4 Pro fuel cell, with a cabinet, with solar, and measure the wind with a LiDAR system, for example, for 1 year, to get an idea how much power will be generated in the wind farm. And also they have to go for the investment to the bank to get a credit for that. And over here you see an example solution. This is by our partner Meventus in Norway. As you see, it's on the top of a mountain. The LiDAR system is not very good to see. It's over there before the helicopter. And at the end, it's a hybrid solution. So you have a solar, you have a compartment over here with batteries where the fuel cell is inside. If there's enough solar available, fine. Quite easy to use. There's no maintenance. It's more or less for free. But in winter times, when there's no sun, where there's snow, when maybe the solar panels are covered with snow, there's no power output at all. So they use then the fuel cell in this time and get over the winter and don't have to go there, because a helicopter ride to this application costs around 4,000 to 5,000 euros an hour, so which is also a significant cost. Here we have example application how it can look like with our monitoring system we use. So over here you see an application, you see the battery voltage. The blue is the solar charging, so in days with sufficient energy, sufficient solar radiation, the battery is fine, everything is, the fuel cell is not charging. You see the red line is the discharge current, so the load. But in several times when the weather is not that good, like the last days over here, for example, you have some time frame where the fuel cell is directly charging the batteries and giving energy in this time. And like I told you before, the wind energy is, solar energy is a superpower source, but only if it's available. And if not, if you want to have a reliable system, you have to think further and see what options are available. And one good option, what the people see, is getting away from generators, going to fuel cell systems. Like I told you before, our product range at the moment is around 100 watt. That's not the whole truth. We introduced last year a new system, a half kilowatt version of our fuel cell based on the same idea, or the DMFC. We still use the same stack, but just cluster them, put more cells inside, use different sizes of pumps in the system. And now I have like a 500 watt DMFC fuel cells. Since 1 year on the market, we have nice applications, like I told you before, like the telecommunication stations in Canada and also in Scandinavia they start using it. We have a nice project in New Zealand as well, where they want to install that as a backup power for solar. And I think that's a good step forward for us also to reach other applications, new markets, and have further sales as well. And of course, you can also integrate that into a cabinet. You can cluster those units. You can get power output of 1 kilowatt, for example. It always has to depend on the business case. That's quite important. So it's not only you can say, oh, a fuel cell is too expensive because the investment cost is quite high. You always have to take a look, what is the option or what is the alternative, what you have. And if they have a closer look at the system, if they know the power demand, if they know the backup time they want to have, if they know how much time is missing, for example, in winter times or in raining times where there's no sun available, the fuel cells are getting more and more interesting, especially also in a special case like we have. We have a wide range of partner network. So actually we are located in Germany, but we have sales offices in as well, or subdiaries in Almelo, Netherlands. We have a production facility in Romania, but also a subdiary in Canada, which are integrating the fuel cells in oil and gas applications. And we have a partner network more or less all around the world with some missing parts, but maybe soon there are like other partners available. Like over here you see, okay, this dot is maybe a little bit wrong. The Singapore, again, application I told you before is quite interesting. And they had like a nice quote to get to the end. And they said, regarding the camera system, a camera system is not a special product. It's not, a camera system is a camera system. But what is special with their application or with their solution is the power the camera system gets from. And this is the fuel cell system. So I think this is a very good example of a customer understanding the point of a fuel cell or integrating it and selling it to the customer as a unique solution. Because, like I told you before, there's several options, but for many business cases, the fuel cell is a very, very good option. Yes, and that's...
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Are there any questions right now? If not, I have just one question. You mentioned that you could decrease personal costs with the EFOI.
Yeah.
In which way? Because yesterday I've met somebody out there, and he was like, "Oh, the Caravan and the EFOI, but it's just too expensive."
Yeah.
So how do you say that you can decrease the personal costs?
The point is that you don't have to, for example, if you have an application where only batteries are installed, or a generator, for example. A generator is more or less always sized too big in an application, because for that low power demand, it's not available or it's not useful, and you have to maintain it, you have to clean it, you have to exchange spare parts, you have to exchange filters every 100 hours. So you have to go to the application, and normally the off-grid applications are not somewhere in the city where you just say, okay, 5 people are there, go there and exchange it, but they have to drive there, they have to do the tests, they have to do the exchange, so they have downtimes in this time. So these are all costs with which you can save, because like I told you before, a fuel cell can stand in the field for 1 year without doing nothing. You don't have to change something, you don't have to exchange the cartridge, you don't have to refill methanol, it's autonomous and maintained free. So this is how you can save the operating costs and keep it low. Of course you have high investment costs first, but then over the lifetime, there's someday there's in the total cost of ownership a breaking point, a break-even point.
Where is someday? In like 2 years or in 10 years, or?
Depending on application, it's like we have, like I told you before, like there are so many applications in different countries, like wind market, surveying market, environmental measurement, telecommunications. Always depending on the business case, but I think it's not. You cannot say that an application should. The return of invest is after 1 year. That's not possible nowadays. So.
Okay, thank you very much. If there are further questions later or interest to discuss, the booth is on the left side, B70. Have a visit, have a chat. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We will continue with the next presentation just in about a minute regarding development of a zero-emission municipal vehicle with the Fraunhofer Institute for Solar Energy Systems. Please stay with us, have some refreshments, have some drinks, and see you in a minute. Thank you very much.